It is 7 o'clock, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council members, city officials. Welcome to the August 11, 2025 regular city council meeting. We're meeting at 26 South Paint Street, Chiillicothe, Ohio, and I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Bennett.
Here.
Payne.
Here.
McCourt.
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
McKeever.
Here.
Dement.
Here.
Preston.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Creed.
Here.
I'm going to ask that we waive the the 3-day requirement regarding the agenda, because I know one was sent out a little later on Friday. It probably just missed being 3 days, but I just want to make sure that we're clear about that. So I'll accept that motion from Ms. Preston, second by Ms. Bennett, and I'd ask the clerk to call the roll.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
McCourt.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
I would now ask Ms. Payne to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes from the July 28, 2025 regular meeting have been distributed. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Motion by Ms. Payne, second by Mr. Dement. Clerk will call the roll.
Bennett.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
McCourt.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Moving on to reports of committees. Development Committee, Mr. Dement.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Development has 2 items on tonight's agenda. Item number 1, which is the second reading of a resolution authorizing Greater Chiillicothe and Ross County development to facilitate the future development of affordable housing on city-owned property located at 145 South Bridge Street and 364 East 5th Street, and authorizing city officials to execute that development agreement. Then we also have item number 5, which is the first reading of a resolution authorizing Greater Chiillicothe and Ross County development to facilitate the future development of a Veterans Museum on city-owned property located at 0 Park Street, Chiillicothe, Ohio, and authorizing city officials to execute that development agreement. And on this item, at the appropriate time, I'll be making a motion to waive the 3-read rule to allow for the museum board to start work as soon as possible and avoid further costly delays. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Engineering Committee, Ms. Dunn.
Yes, we have one item on the agenda tonight, President Shoemaker. That's item number 9, amending Chapter 1151 of the Downtown Enterprise District. We also had a recent meeting on August the 6th for ordinance 25-059, a vacation of alley at 150 Rennick Avenue, and a lot extension, 25-061 at 6 Health Drive, which will be on the agenda next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance and Technology Committee, Mr. Creed.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We had a committee meeting earlier this evening on item 25-067. This is to authorize the auditor's office to move appropriated funds between line items for salary and fringe benefits within the same fund. The committee recommended that move forward for legislation. On tonight's agenda, we also have 3 items. Item number 2 is first reading, an ordinance authorizing the city to return the sum of $34,486 in coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds that were not obligated at the end of 2024 and return that to the Department of Treasury. Item number 4 is an ordinance appropriating funds to cover the increased cost of citywide insurance policies. And then item number 6, which is a resolution authorizing the city of Chiillicothe to participate in the new national opioid settlement with Alvogen, Amneal, Apotex, Hikma, Indivior, Mylan, Sun, and Citus. This authorized the mayor and or law director to execute participation agreements and related documents and declare an emergency. And at the appropriate time, I'll make a motion to waive the 3-read rule so we can get this done in time for them to get the work done and get us part of that opioid settlement. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Human Resources Committee, Ms. Payne.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We do not have any new assignments and nothing new to report on this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Parks and Rec Committee, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. There's nothing for the committee to discuss, but I would like to talk about the Parks and Rec Board minutes from the last meeting. It was another great year for the 4th of July pool party, and the fireworks display was one of the biggest turnouts at the pool, so that was pretty cool. The last pool day will be Sunday, August 17th, and 2 more night swims planned for the season. See if anything else. The high school tennis practice has started. The construction in the park, which will be starting somewhat soon, is not expected to disrupt the tennis season. However, it may affect parking, so just keep on the lookout for that. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Safety Service Committee, Ms. Preston.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Safety Services has one item on the agenda this evening. It's a first reading. It's item number 3, first reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating grant funds from the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections through the Community Corrections Act grant for the purpose of continuing full-time probation officer position and declaring an emergency. At the appropriate time, I will request to waive the 3-read rule on this item so we can get that funding in place and meet the timeline. We did have a meeting this evening in regards to speed humps out in the Logan View, Midland, Pawnee area. We do currently have some speed humps out there, and we have had some requests for some additional due to people cutting over from and trying to get around the speed humps that are placed out there. So we are going to send a request over to the law director's office for additional speed humps in the area out there. And that is all that I have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Utilities Committee, Mr. McKeever.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Utilities has one item on the agenda for tonight, which is item number 7, first read of an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a sewer utility easement for a proposed sewer main to serve a new business at 1334 North Bridge Street and the adjacent property to the south on parcel located on North Bridge Street, and authorizing the execution and recording of documents. At the appropriate time, I'm going to ask for the waive the 3-read rule to move this project forward. The committee has nothing else to report. Thank you.
Thank you. City Services Committee, Ms. Preston, but I will go ahead and announce that Ms. Preston is going to step down as chair of that committee, and Mr. McQuirt will take over. I'll make that appointment here this next week, but at this point in time, it is still Chairman Preston.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. City Services has nothing to report at this time and has nothing on the agenda.
Thank you. Community Affairs Committee, Ms. Bennett.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Community Affairs doesn't have anything on the agenda this evening or any assignments at the moment. Thank you.
We'll move to reports of officials. Mayor Feeney and Auditor Spetnagel are not here, but I'll turn to the law director and ask if she has anything to add.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have, in reviewing the 10 things on the legislation, maybe I missed number 8 and number 10. I didn't see those. Anybody claim those? You did number 8. wanted to bring that up.
we'll get to
All right.
number 8 and
I
talk
have
about that
nothing
one
else to add. Thank
specifically.
you.
Now we'll move to audience participation. Any person wishing to address the council must first provide his or her name and address. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes, and I'll give you a warning when there's 1 minute remaining.
Remember to turn this on this evening. My name is Bob Leach. I live at 79 West 5th Street. I'm here in my capacity as the Vice President of the Chiillicothe Ross Military Tribute Museum, and thank all of you for your support in the past with the President, Melody Hatfield, and one of our committee members, Judge Jan Corzine, tonight. So I want to thank you for bringing up that you are going to request waiving the three-read rule. And I just want to point out the urgency of that. I was at the VFW National Convention this morning in Columbus, and Secretary of State LaRose, who's also a veteran, I got up and implored all of us, and he said, if not us, the veterans who are in the room, who's going to do these things? And that really applies to what we're trying to do with the Chiillicothe Ross Military Tribute Museum. We have a deadline for the Herrnstein Foundation grant. It's the 15th of this month. So the three-read rule waive would help with that. We also have the knowledge that the floodgates are going to open with donations. This was just received, the World War II uniform of Russell Everett Busey, who was from Chiillicothe. He enlisted in the Navy on December 22nd, 1941. So we know 15 days after Pearl Harbor, we know what his motivation was. And he served aboard the USS Essex and was a aviation metalwork petty officer. So when a plane would come back to the USS Essex all shot up, he was one of the sailors that would work on getting that airworthy again. And he was on board that ship when it was hit by a kamikaze plane on the 25th of November 1944, and one of the most dramatic photographs of World War II. He survived the war. Unfortunately, his brother-in-law, Howard Four, was in the United States Marine Corps and killed near the Chosin Reservoir during the Korean War. Keeping those stories alive for the residents of Chiillicothe and Ross County and people who visit the museum is why it's essential. We need to get the three-read rule waived so that we can accept donations like this. Right now, we've been telling people to hold off on those until this legislation passes. So I want to thank all of you again for your support. Thank you specifically for the work and for you for initiating this many months ago.
Hi, Melody Hatfield, 355 Brennan Road, Chiillicothe. We're on the agenda. We're on the agenda and getting the three-read rule waived, and I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful to all you guys for doing this because it means so much to so many people, and I can't tell you how much it means to the community as a whole, too. So thank you, and well done, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here this evening on behalf of the Chiillicothe Ross Military Tribute Museum. You would not believe the amount of work that Melody and Bob have put into this project at this point in time. This is really important to us. We are now at the stage where we can start raising funds and make this thing a reality. As I think most of us know, Southern Ohio has always had deep ties to the military. We have a lot of young people coming out of this area who choose to serve their country. And again, as Bob and Melody have pointed out, this is a way to preserve military history that might otherwise just stay in people's closets. Thank each and every one of you for the hard work on this. We truly appreciate this. And hopefully we'll make you proud in another few years when we get this thing built. Thank you.
Hi, Amy Fitton, 333 West 5th Street. It's nice to follow a feel-good story. I have another one. So I was here a bunch during Ordinance 555, and one of the chief concerns that was brought up about the homeless was the litter, and I promised to help organize cleanups. So I'm here to report back. I've partnered with Joe Lecce and the city of Chiillicothe, and behind Walmart, we've cleaned 121 bags of trash. Behind Lincoln Park, 112. Behind Millennial Grove, 52 bags and 8 grocery carts. Behind Centerpoint Church / Shawnee Square, 75 bags of trash. Millennial Grove is not done yet, so we're going to try and go back at the beginning of September and finish Millennial Grove. And in 3 of those 4 locations, the homeless were working with us to clean those locations up. So my question is, I know that we, thanks to Dan, wrote a letter that we had a committee started to address helping the homeless for the next, like a 5-year plan. And I was just curious where we are with that and if you want any help with it, and just throwing that out there. So that's it. Thank you.
My name is Jamie Brown, 98 Douglas Avenue. I typically come to you all pretty mass. I'm an autistic person and I have a hard time compartmentalizing my emotions, but I'm not going to do you that favor today. I'm pretty pissed off today. I want to thank my friend Amy for sharing that news. It's a good segue into kind of what I'm most frustrated about this ideological inconsistency. We moved mountains to make sure that those pictures off of Charleston Pike were addressed, right? And I think we all are in agreement. When we saw that aerial view, we thought, damn, right? Regardless of how you stood on how you responded, we all said, that's an issue. And I'm really grateful, like I knew would happen. Folks stepped up and made that happen. There are not enough trash bags to fill all of the toxic plume with. Do you understand? I sent a letter, I got a response, and then it was released. It's rhetorical. If you have, I would appreciate a hand wave, but like, did y'all read Howmet's plan? Did you read it? The EPA said nearly 30 years ago, you should sequester that mess that's in the ground. Should get it out of there. It's not safe and it shouldn't be there. Like I said last time, this was in the 90s. We're still on the back end of that Reagan greed is good. Remember that? Greed is good. Let's keep our bank accounts flush. And so the EPA said, what's best? If it were me, I'd sequester it. I'd get it out of the ground. But if you want to keep your accounts flushed, here's some things you can do. And they minimized kind of the sequestering plan. You should get it all, but you can get this. And then you should install a particular amount of wells. Like Mr. Feeney, I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to pretend I am. I want to preface that with, I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know. But neither do you. Neither do A. No one does. And the EPA said, because we don't know, there is a best practice for this. And that is to sequester all of the pollution and toxic sludge out of the ground. I want to pose a few irritated but thoughtful premises here. I wonder if this was, I don't know, in the 4th or 5th ward near downtown, we found out there was a toxic plume full of cancerous causing sludge right next to Yaktangi Park. I'd wonder if we'd go, well, how cheap can we make it? I wonder if it was on Yaples or up near the university. I wonder, would we be going so slowly? I have my answer to that question. You might have your own. I don't know. But I'm pretty irritated, right? I think other people here are irritated. If you read the comment section of NBC4, none of us are scientists, but it's clear the EPA asked for 4 wells. They said, nope, we'll give you 2. We'll give you 2 in the complete opposite direction of the most viable censoring wells. What's at stake? I remember just a few months ago, one of the contamination threats was the Scioto River. If flood comes in and washes those homeless folks' things away, it's going to contaminate the Scioto River. Have you looked at the map? Have you seen the potential contamination? Again, I don't know. Neither does the EPA. That's why they made a map. But it's like right there on the Scioto River. Right there. It's right there. I'm not a scientist, but I'm certain. Underwear and socks and tents and canned goods will not destroy the Scioto River the way cancer-causing toxic plume chemicals will, right? We moved heaven and earth to make sure we held homeless people accountable, to let them know, not in this city. You cannot pollute in this city and leave that waste lay. We will not allow it. So what's the plan? What's the plan? I offered that we bring them in publicly. Here's what I know. I think that powerful, big money actors get to have private meetings in rooms where they aren't held accountable by angry, frivolous people like me. And inside of those doors, people like me aren't heard. They do the most cost-effective thing. I don't want the cost-effective thing. I want the safest thing. I hope you all want the safest thing. I know you do. I know you do. I think it's uncomfortable. I get that. It's uncomfortable. I get maybe this is irritating to some of you. But I know you don't want a toxic plume potentially destroying soil, air, and water on the East End. I know you don't want that. And so I'm just asking, make someone come tell us that it's not going to happen. And I just real quick, has anyone called Bernie Marino? Maybe he could help us out here. That was supposed to be a joke, but thank you.
Hi, my name is Jesse Wilkes, 1821 Baptist Hill Road. I am also not a scientist or anybody of concern. I will say, doing my own research throughout the years, I remember hearing about this particular plume back when Gladfelter, I believe, was selling it. And this was the initial plan. I may have even attended a meeting like this. And I don't know if you all realize, but we live in a huge cancer cluster. My first wife, we separated. She died of cancer that is in this area. It happens at a very extreme level, and it is connected more to the DuPont up in Circleville, which is where she had ties to. But the point is, it's not just DuPont. It's this entire area has really sacrificed many things for the public good, be our well-being, our citizenry, for the business aspect of things. We have a housing situation here that obviously has been addressed by this council several times to many people's satisfaction and some people's extreme dissatisfaction. And I'm glad to hear that the sites have been cleaned, and I'm glad to hear that things are moving on that. But people will continue to be watching, because I lived in West Virginia at one point. Are you all familiar with Nitro, West Virginia, whatsoever? Do you know about the toxic crap that's there? Been there? Yeah? Okay. We're not even talking about everything that's sitting on site at the Pixel place. All of the heavy metals that have been grandfathered in, all of the, I mean, there's stories you can find in the documentary that they used to spray these chemicals on people, on scabs, on people trying to unionize. There's history that is gross about that plant, regardless of the good people that have worked there and the positives that it's had for this company, this town, the people, generationally. Not trying to negate any of that. But the reality is it's killing us. And to pretend otherwise is doing the people who elect you all an extreme disservice. And if you all have an ounce of power more than the people sitting in this room, you should contact those politicians like Moreno or, I don't know, Taylor, somebody who does the lip service and then leaves us all holding the bag with some dead family.
I'm Galen Kaltenbach, 505 McKellar Street. And my family has been in Chiillicothe since we've been in America. My generations of my family essentially built and settled this town. And I think that we continue to be neglected. See, both sides of my family come from a long poverty where they tried to pull us out. My dad was disabled growing up from an injury at work. My grandpa served in Vietnam and worked at Kenworth. My dad worked at Kenworth. My dad's sister worked at Kenworth for a while. Hold on, let me gather my thoughts here because this is all just coming out. My parents worked really hard to make sure that I had a roof over my head. I live in a home that's been managed to be kept over 3 generations and 6 different family units, and we still have 7 years left to pay, and it is 2 blocks away from a toxic plume that is going to potentially kill me, my family members, the families that I grew up down the block that are still generations in that house. It's just really hard to deal with knowing that I'm just looking at all the toils of my family to be left with drinking cancerous water and bathing in cancerous bath water. I think it's frankly really ridiculous. And to echo what Jamie said, would you guys care more if it was in the gentrified downtown where all the tourists and transplants get to come and play small town Rust Belt for a while? Because that's okay. Anyway, next free market is this Saturday. The theme is back to school. I'd like you guys to take a couple flyers. We're trying to get school supplies for kids and hygiene items as well. But unfortunately, the free market does not offer chemo treatment or small caskets.
William Corzine again, 100 Yaples Orchard Drive, Chiillicothe. I wanted to bring up, in light of what's been said about the toxic plume, I wanted to remind everybody of something that took place in Pike County, and I think Council President may have a little bit more knowledge about this than me. But several years ago, there were hearings that involved radiation contamination from the Piketon nuclear plant getting to the aquifer down there. And there were discussions about the Teays Valley Aquifer. For those of you who might not be familiar with that, that is the remnants of a large prehistoric river that essentially followed the same course as the Scioto, was a lot bigger, but flowed north. And it always been told it flowed underground, and that was the source of our water. So there was some concern in the city about the possibility of contamination from Piketon getting into our water supply. But the point I want to make is this, and I don't remember whether the federal government sent representatives from the Department of Energy, the Army Corps of Engineers, but regardless, there were 2 experts from the federal government who said there was no such thing as the Teays Valley Aquifer. and they were quoted in the newspaper, and I never heard them say they were misquoted. That was to the great surprise of two OSU professors who were down there testifying, talking about the Taze Valley Aquifer. So I agree, it's probably going to take some notification for our state and federal folks about what's going on here, but please don't check your skepticism at the door. If they tell you something that doesn't make any sense, call them on it, because this is potentially a threat to all of us. And they need to do something. My guess is it will be beyond the resources of the city to take care of. It's a shame that the current state of the law doesn't make the original owner liable for the life of that plume to clean it up. But that's not going to be the case, apparently. But hold people's feet to the fire over this one, because it's worth it. We can't risk the threats to our safety, both for us and our families. Thank you.
My name is Stephanie Renner. I live at 98 Douglas Avenue here in Chiillicothe. I just wanted to voice concern about the HowMet response, since they are wanting to do less than what the EPA has asked them to do. I do know that the power that you do hold is to subpoena HowMet here so we can ask them questions publicly. So I would ask if you're willing to do that.
Hi, I'm Mary Newman, 73 Timberlane Drive in Chiillicothe. I just want to say I'm here because water is life. And if we want to keep the life of this town, we better make sure the water is good. And we don't know, as citizens, we don't know where to go. We really don't have, we hear something, but we know it's bad. We don't know what direction to go in. But I do know that, things have happened with water supplies in, say, Flint. And that's lasting. That'll last for you and your children. Thank you.
Hello, all of my favorite people. I am AJ Tainer. I live at 81 North Paint, apartment 2B. The first thing I wanted to mention, which is off topic from everybody, is this Wednesday, the 13th, from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. at Roast Coffee is going to be the next Coffee with Councils event. Just want to make sure that everybody was aware of that. Make sure the community is aware, just to come out, have coffee, get to chat with our council members, ask questions. Now that I've said that, at the last meeting, we were all told that there would be an announcement made about the plume, about HowMet and their plan to clean it up, and that you were going to tell us exactly what was being done to clean up the plume and to take care of it. Now, granted, it was Feeney that said this and made this promise, and I understand he's not here today, but why is that? HowMet's plan is really not great. That plume is a hell of a lot greater of an issue than what I think anybody has said and admitted. It's way too close to our homes, no matter what end of town it's on. There's not enough being done to clean it up, and I understand that this is a bigger issue than what the city alone can handle. But y'all have more power than us, whether you see it or not, whether it's a lot, and I'm sure there's a lot more red tape than what we're imagining. But what happened to Moreno and Taylor and Yost and their promises? What happened to all the things that we have been told that when we're being told that you're going to take care of the community and take care of these issues? It's not happening. This plume is a greater issue than what any of us can see. What's the plan? What's the announcement? What's going on? Where is the communication about this? Because we're not hearing a lot about it. Thank you.
Okay, moving on then, we'll go to old business. Is there any old business to come before council? Hearing none, we'll move on to petitions and correspondence.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. I have not received anything.
Moving on to new business. The first thing under new business is the mayor has submitted nominations for the newly created film commission that I sent out to the council members. We have one appointment from council, and I would like a motion to accept all three of the members that have been suggested. Motion by Ms. Dunn, second by Mr. Dement. Is there any conversation about those individuals that are on there? It's Daniel Griesheimer is going to be the chair. Jared Halm is going to be a member, and then the member from council would be Gunnar Barnes. So hearing no objections, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll relative to the motion.
Bennett?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Barnes? McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
I hesitated to say that those are 4-year appointments that the mayor sent over to us, and obviously, since the one appointment will be for a council member, that'll depend on how long a council member may be on council. So those have now been voted and have been accepted and confirmed by the council. The second thing that is before council, item number 8 on the agenda, apparently I received word from the administration today that it's been recommended that there be a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a guaranteed maximum price for some of the contracts that are down in the park. Essentially, what it's designed to do is say you can't go above a certain amount, and if they try to go above a certain amount, that's on the contractor and the construction manager, not on the city to pay more. This group has obviously been working relative to the roadways, and this was sent over from the law director because there had been discussion with the administration. It did not go through the committee process, but setting a maximum probably makes some sense. That means it puts the responsibility back on the construction manager. There are some fees for the construction manager in the amount. It's about $11 million when we're looking to spend much, much less than that on the roads relative to the grant. And so the first question I would ask is whether it is the pleasure of this council to waive the rule that requires this to be sent to a committee before it comes before council. And if there's any discussion, we can have discussion once there is a motion and a second, if there is such. Motion by Ms. Payne, second by Mr. Creed. Is there any further discussion? I know that Mr. Boggs here. We spoke today, and he is here if there are any specific questions that you have. Hearing none, when we get to number 8, then we'll be able to go forward now that we've waived that rule. Finally, there are 2 issues on here that deal with the Tiffin property. I've had a discussion with the law director, and she's kindly advised us that there may be a way to combine those at some point. But I think the better course for this particular evening would be to go ahead and vote on the first reading or the second reading on number 1 and the first reading on number 10. And then before the next council meeting, we'll work out whether those could be combined through an amendment or whatever. They are somewhat similar, but the language isn't exactly the same. So we're going to go forward and treat those separately unless there is an objection by any of the council members. Hearing none, we'll move on to the reading of ordinances and resolutions.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have 10 items on our agenda this evening. Item number 1 is the second reading of a resolution authorizing the Greater Chiillicothe and Ross County development to facilitate the future development of affordable housing on city-owned property located at 145 South Bridge Street and 364 East 5th Street, and authorizing city officials to execute that attached development agreement.
The resolution will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 2 is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the appropriate city officials to return the sum of $34,486 in coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds not obligated by the end of the 2024 fiscal year to the U.S. Department of the Treasury.
The ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 3 is the first reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating grant funds from the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections through the Community Corrections Acts grant for the purpose of continuing a full-time probation officer position and declaring an emergency.
President Shoemaker, I'd like
Ms.
to make
Preston.
a motion at this time to waive the 3-read rule on this item.
Second by Ms. Payne. The clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the 3-read rule.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed,
Yes.
The 3-read rule is waived. The clerk will call the roll relative to the ordinance.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted. Next ordinance.
Item number 4 is the first reading of an ordinance appropriating funds to cover an increase in costs of citywide insurance policies.
The ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next resolution.
Item number 5 is the first reading of a resolution authorizing the Greater Chiillicothe and Ross County development to facilitate the future development of a Veterans Museum on city-owned property located at 0 Park Street, Chiillicothe, Ohio, and authorizing city officials to execute that attached development agreement.
President Shoemaker.
Mr. Dement,
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule on this.
second by Mr. McCourt. The clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the 3-read rule.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The 3-read rule is waived. The clerk will call the roll relative to the ordinance. Excuse me, I said ordinance instead of resolution.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Next resolution.
Item number 6 is the first reading of a resolution authorizing the city of Chiillicothe to participate in the new national opioid settlements with Alvogen, Amneal, Apotex, Hikma, Indivior, Mylan, Sun, and Zydus to authorize the mayor and/or law director to execute participation agreements and related documents and declaring an emergency.
President Shoemaker, I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3-read rule.
Second by Ms. Preston. The clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the 3-read rule.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The 3-read rule is waived. The clerk will call the roll relative to the resolution.
Bennett,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
McCourt,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. The next ordinance.
Item number 7 is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a sewer utility easement for a proposed sewer main to serve a new business at 1334 North Bridge Street and the adjacent property to the south on parcel number 305-461-026-000 located on North Bridge Street, and authorizing execution and recording of documents.
President Shoemaker, I'd like to make a motion to waive the three-read rule.
Second by Mr. Dement. The clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the three-read rule.
Bennett?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
The three-read rule is waived. Clerk will call the roll relative to the ordinance.
Bennett?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Next resolution.
Item number 8 is the first reading of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a guaranteed maximum price agreement for the Appalachian Community Grant Program project and declaring an emergency.
President Shoemaker, I'd like to make a motion to waive the three-read rule on this item.
Second by Ms. Dunn. The clerk will call the roll relative to the waiver of the three-read rule.
Bennett?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
The three-read rule is waived. The clerk will call the roll relative to the resolution.
Bennett?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. The next ordinance.
Item number 9 is the first reading of an ordinance setting a public hearing on the recommendation to amend Chapter 1151 DE Downtown Enterprise District of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe.
The ordinance will move to the next agenda. The next resolution.
Item number 10 is the first reading of a resolution regarding the potential conveyance of a city-owned property located at 145 South Bridge Street and 364 East 5th Street to the Greater Chiillicothe and Ross County Development to facilitate future housing development and authorize city officials to continue coordination and review of a potential development agreement.
Resolution will move to the next agenda. Is there any other business come before council? Hearing none.
I'd like to say one thing real quick. I'm going to have open office hours tomorrow at Carl's Townhouse. So if anybody wants to talk to me about any kind of city plans or kind of complain about Bridge Street, since Bridge Street is my ward, it'll be at Carl's Townhouse from 11 to 12:30. So come enjoy a hamburger basket with me and talk about the city.
I had no idea I could get an office at Carl's, but I'll see what I can do. It has become clear that it's time for adjournment. So is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Ms. Payne. Is there a second? Mr. McKeever, the clerk will call the roll.
Bennett?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
McCourt?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
We are adjourned.